Hello and welcome back to 360 Sports. I'm your host, Kylie Smith, here alongside Gwen, Kenzie, and Grace. Thank you so much for joining our NCAA Frenzy Show today. I want to get right into it. We all know that college basketball released their top 25 for the Associated Press, men's and women's. I want to know what kind of surprised you guys about these rankings and what you're expecting.
Yeah, as far as the men's, I wasn't totally shocked by anything. I do think that Houston deserved the number one spot. I think Purdue, they do not get it done, and I think that this year will be no different. And I think Houston has the potential to win the championship this year.
Yeah, I thought it was a little strange that UConn was ranked higher nationally than St. John's, but in the coaches poll, St. John's was ranked higher than UConn. I'm not really sure why that was a thing, but I was a little confused by that. I'm excited to see St. John's play, though. I think they'll be a good team, hopefully. But as from New York, I got to root for them, but you never really know.
Yeah, I mean, Florida was ranked number 3, which is ahead of UConn and Duke, who are most recent national champions. So that was surprising to me. I think they had a strong end to their season last year, and they have a very strong transfer class, but still was kind of shocking to see.
That happened. Yeah, I agree. I honestly, with Purdue, I kind of feel like a lot of the times they're getting that spot because they are such a powerhouse basketball. So, they've been that way and it's been there. So I think they kind of get put there. I don't know if I'm going to see too much surprises from them. I am excited to see Florida and always the UConn schools. What about the women's side?
I don't think anything really stood out.
Yeah.
Duke, for me, I think they should be higher. Personally, my favorite women's basketball player, Toby Fournier, plays for them. And I think that she's going to make a huge leap this year. I think that this is really going to be her year. She's going to shock some people, given the fact that she was good last year, but she wasn't freshman of the year, Sarah Strong.
Yes.
Which is hard to top. And so I think Duke is going to be a lot better this year with her at the helm.
Yeah, I definitely think UConn and South Carolina 1 and 2, I feel like that doesn't really change much. They're very consistently the best in women's basketball. But I'm curious to see how UConn is going to play without Beckers this year, because they were good without her. They were great with her. But then will they be good without her again is the question.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks they will be.
I mean, the Oklahoma Sooners are ranked 6th, which is their highest ranking since 2008. So I think that'll be interesting to watch them throughout the year. And then as well, the SEC dominating with multiple teams in the top 10. So that was really cool. And then Southern California ranked 18th after Juju Watkins again announced she will not be playing this season. Yeah. So it'll be interesting how the Trojans can fill that void again this year.
That's something I'm definitely interested in watching too. And as far as UConn and South Carolina goes, I feel like those have predominantly been the top teams. They've made it so many times. So they're getting the top recruits in the classes incoming. So those players want to go there. I'm wondering if you guys think that there could be any team that takes down those powerhouses, because you see it in the coaches, you see it in their players. Do we have any picks that kind of you wouldn't expect?
I think one team that got a couple votes to be in the poll this year was Washington, and they were just outside. But I think that that's a team that I don't think they're going to beat UConn or South Carolina.
So we think they're,
but I think that they're on the up and up. They're going to be getting some good recruits. They've gotten some good recruits, and I think that they're going to play really, really well in the Big Ten, which could lead to some really, really good March Madness play.
Yeah. I mean, UConn just literally got the number 3 recruit in the 2026 class, or next year's class, whatever that is. And I think they have so much going for them right now. How can you really compete? I mean, UCLA, I think they were number 3. They have those sisters that are playing together, which will be cool to watch. Yeah, I just really don't see anyone beating them.
So we think UConn might.
Yeah, I mean, in the AP coaches poll, UConn had 31 votes, even over South Carolina.
Yeah.
So, I mean, even everybody's already banking UConn 31 votes above South Carolina.
That's a lot.
So that will be interesting.
Yeah, and you mentioned it. You saw how they played without Beckers. I think it's kind of going to be the same story once again. But moving over to men's hockey, we saw Michigan State sweep Boston University in the first key series of the season. Do you think the Spartans will take this and go with it and keep that streak to a championship perchance, or are there other teams that are going to give them a run for their money?
I mean, not to be biased or anything, but I really do think Penn State does have a good shot at getting to the Big Ten championship. Like, they're the team that, on paper, it is such a good team. And I just think they only have one loss under their belt right now. They just have to be able to learn how to play as a group. I think a lot of the players are playing very individually. The only real line we're seeing play well is the three guys that played together last year. So it's not like there's much to learn with those three. But the guys that we need to see play more, like Gavin McKenna, the best player in college hockey right now. But he's not playing at a level that he should be playing
You'd
at
expect
yet.
him, yeah.
And I think he just has to get comfortable, and nobody's really gotten comfortable yet. So I'm waiting to see that happen. I do think we will have a good chance.
Yeah, I mean, Michigan State was voted a preseason favorite to win the Big Ten championship. They were two-time defending regular season and Big Ten championship. So, I mean, personally, I think Michigan State has got it all the way.
I think Penn State. I like this Penn State hockey team, and I like watching Penn State hockey. I think that the Big Ten is just that stacked this year. I think that the national championship will be won by a Big Ten team.
Oh, 100%.
And I think that in conference play, it's going to be hard to see who's going to come out on top. But I do think that Penn State has the players. They have the ability, they have the coaching to be able to come out on top at the end of the year.
I mean, Guy Gadowski's such a good coach. How can you even compare? Another thing is, you could also say University of Michigan has a good chance. I mean, they're 6-0 right now. They're the only undefeated team left, I believe. But that hasn't not played yet. But they haven't really played against anyone too good. They swept Providence, who was 7 when they played them. But they're playing the reigning national champions this weekend. So I think that this weekend will be a big factor and to see what the rankings are going to be when Big Ten play starts.
Completely.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll transition over to a huge upset in college football with Louisville beating Miami, which broke their winning streak, essentially. Can the Hurricanes rebound and still make the playoffs, or do you kind of think that's what's going to be detrimental to their season?
Personally, I think that this loss is going to be what gets them there and maybe even gets them to the finish line. I mean, you look at last year, Ohio State had that loss to Michigan. And I mean, I think that a lot of great teams need a loss in order to get to the end, especially there have been a lot of really good undefeated college football teams, but those teams that bounce back, in my opinion, are just so much more exciting to watch. And I think that the ACC, I mean, Georgia Tech is still at 7-0, which honestly, looking at the rest of their schedule, I think they have a good chance of ending the season potentially undefeated, other than Georgia. That one's going to be hard. But I mean, I don't think Virginia or SMU are legit enough to contend with Miami this year. So I do think that Miami is going to come out on top of the ACC. And I think that this loss to Louisville is going to be a determining moment in their season.
I just feel like none of the teams that they're playing from here on out are going to be very difficult to beat. It's a lot of easier games, which I know sometimes can be hard. We've seen that ourselves, but I don't see them not making the playoffs.
Yeah, I think Miami's early season win to Notre Dame has really built their resume. So this loss to Louisville is not going to hurt them as much as it would have without that win. I think they definitely need to win out, and it's very vital for Carson Beck to bounce back. He had 4 interceptions last game, and I think that definitely played a key role in that loss. So, I mean, Miami historically has some issues with late season losses and collapsing, but with the new 12-team playoff, I think they'll get in.
Yeah, I agree with that also. And I do think a lot of the times with a situation like this, it's the adversity that kind of gets them to the end of that situation. But on the topic of college football, we know heartbreak kind of better than anybody else right now. The biggest talking point in college football is the firing of our own Penn State's head coach, James Franklin. With a plethora of possible replacements, let's go to the board and give our pick for the next Penn State head coach.
Yeah, so my pick is Matt Rule. He was a former Penn State player. He played linebacker under Joe Paterno. He's from the State College area, and He took over Temple and Baylor and led them in the first 3 seasons to 10-plus win seasons and led Temple to a conference championship and led Baylor to a conference appearance. So I definitely think he's a legit contender. He's at Nebraska. He knows the Big Ten very well. And also at Temple, Pat Kraft was the AD there and was the one who hired him. So ultimately, I think Matt Rule would be the best to take over for James Franklin.
Yeah, I was you beat me to that, but I was going to put him also. I mean, his alma mater, and I think his experience would be a good fit for us.
Yeah, I definitely see him getting a call. Will he take that call and answer it and be like, yeah, I want to come? I don't know. But I definitely do think he
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, you never really know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, even if he does get the call, I personally don't want him to answer it because I think that would just be a lot of the same of what James Franklin has offered.
Yeah,
He's been
I agree.
mid at Nebraska, and I think he'd be mid at Penn State. That's just my opinion.
Very fair. Fair. Yeah.
I think.
Yeah,
Go on.
yeah, I can.
Sorry. No, let's make sure in the right order.
Perfect. Okay, so my pick, I'm going to throw John Summerall on the board. He's done some good work at Tulane, and I think that Penn State could be a good next step up for him. It would be a big step, but I think it would be a good option for Penn State because he's good at recruiting. He's proven that. He's been able to convert lower-ranked recruits to good teams at Tulane. And that's kind of what Penn State needs right now. We're losing all the recruits, and you need a good recruiter to come in and bring it for this Penn State team, especially since you're losing James Franklin, who is historically an amazing recruiter. But also, he's fresh blood. There's a lot of coaches in this pool of what Penn State could pick who've already been head coaching for a very, very long time at the Power 5 level. Personally, I think it would be a very, very good move for Penn State to pick a coach who hasn't had that Power 5 experience coming in with new ideas. Think kind of what UW did when they hired Kalen DeBoer to be their head coach, which, if you remember back to when he was at the University of Washington, it actually ended up working. So, yeah, John Summerall.
I actually like that. I think it would be interesting to have a coach. And I think that's what you said when we need a coach that's not like he's not coming in and like having the best team. He's not in a good situation. You don't need a coach who's just put in those situations where they thrive when they already have good players and a good team to kind of support them. This person's not really going to have that. So I think that's an interesting pick to build the program back up.
You need someone to be able to build from the bottom up, essentially. So. Yeah. Okay, I guess I'll go. My pick is a little bit outlandish, but I'll whatever. It's okay. I went with Nick Saban. Now, I don't know if he will actually. If we called him, I don't know if he would answer the phone. To be quite honest with you, but we need a coach that wants to win and that has won and has experience winning, and he definitely has that. And he coached at Bama for so long, but he did coach at Michigan State for 5 years, so he does have that Big Ten experience. And I think we're losing a lot of recruits right now. And so the biggest thing that Penn State needs as a whole is to be able to get more recruits and get more people involved in our program. And he's a name. He's a guy that everybody knows who he is if you're in college football at all. So he's a good person to keep in mind at least.
I don't know if you'd answer that.
I don't know if he'd answer.
I like it though.
It'd be a good idea though. In theory.
I think with the new NIL, that's kind of what
That's
made
why
him
he wouldn't. But
sign.
Do it. Yeah. But I do feel like he really does care about kind of the Penn State program, and you see it when he's talking to Franklin about everything and how kind of upset he was by that. So I think that'd be interesting. I also don't think that he would.
No,
he wouldn't answer,
he wouldn't answer, but
he'd be a great coach.
He would be.
Okay. For my pick, I have Lane Kiffin. So I don't know ideally if this would happen as he's doing a really good job with Ole Miss. I don't know if he would want to leave Ole Miss, but I think it's really noteworthy that he is an NFL-level quarterback, and he doesn't have the team that you kind of would expect to do well. Like, they're not as talented as, like, you would think that they're not as talented with the players that they have, but with this quarterback and his coaching, I think they're doing better than expected. And he kind of reminds me of James Franklin in a way of building a recruiting class where they trust him and people want to play for him. So I think that is very important, especially with this Penn State climate. We're so family-based here that I think that he would be a great attribute to this team, and bringing in players to kind of make it feel like family and bring them back to the top after such a big loss. I think it's going to take someone powerful who can win those tough games to do that.
He would definitely be an interesting pick. I love him as a coach. I don't know if he would come Big Ten.
Yeah.
Because like down south, like very important to him.
Yeah.
But,
I think he likes the SEC.
Yes.
I think that's something that I don't think he'll be willing to give that up. And honestly, I don't think he's done at Ole Miss.
Yeah.
I think that he has really built something, and especially coming out of that Nick Saban kind of umbrella of coaches, he really, I think, would like to build something for himself, and he has done that at Ole Miss. And I don't think there's really no reason for him to leave to Penn State.
Unless they offered him more money, but
we're already paying off.
Yeah, right.
How much money
do we have is the question.
I can definitely see that. Only time will tell. I wonder when they will announce it. Do they have a deadline? Do we know? I don't think they do, right?
No.
I
saw something that was talking about like college football playoffs, and like coaches that were in a college football playoff team wouldn't answer the call because they would have to leave.
Playoffs.
Yeah.
Do you think that they're trying to replace it before playoffs? Well, if we make playoffs.
Well, can we
we're
even
not
make
making
them?
the
No, we're
playoffs.
not
No.
making
I was gonna say.
I think it is hard because you kind of need to decide what you want to do with this year if you are Penn State.
Yeah.
And if you want to stick with the interim head coach, Terry, can't remember his last name, but
Smith, right?
yeah, easy one. But if you want to stick with him, it kind of depends on how you want the rest of the season to go. If you want to move on, or which I think Penn State does want to move on. You just have to make that decision at some point in the year, but I don't think they'll announce it before the playoffs because there's too many good coaches who will be.
I just think
I agree.
the problem is going to be the transfer portal.
That's what I was
And
going to say,
'cause
attacking it.
If we don't have a coach, then people aren't going to want to transfer here because there's nobody to be coached. So
Right.
I don't know. It's
Same
the
with
question.
recruits. Like we're already losing so many recruits. I feel like if you get a name to at least that head coaching title, we can either have some recruits stay or maybe bring in a few more that maybe were previously committed to that school that coach was at.
Yeah, or even some of our recruits who have decommitted to come back. I think a lot of them are just uncertain about our future validly. Of course.
I understand
So
it.
I think if we get a name where people trust and can build a relationship with these players that we originally had, I don't think people are opposed to coming back to Penn State because it is Penn State, and I think it still could happen.
Yes.
But
I agree.
we will see. Moving on to women's volleyball, the NCAA released their women's committee top 16 teams with Nebraska and Texas as the top 2 seeds. What do you think will happen with this? And do you think there's any teams that could kind of change the route they're heading down or build up higher in this poll?
I mean, I definitely think Nebraska has that number 1 spot locked. I mean, they came into Rec Hall and absolutely destroyed us.
Completely.
I mean, I know we were still figuring out our ways without Izzy Stark, but I think like that was just a very resume building win. I think Texas could maybe bump them out of that number 1 spot, depending on how they handle their win, like their game against number 3 Kentucky. If they can go blow up Kentucky, then I think then maybe they would have a bigger win to boost them at number 1 over Nebraska, but I don't know.
Yeah, I read something that said the reason that Nebraska is above Texas is because, Nebraska, 1, has more wins overall, and 2, Texas has gone to more 5 sets than Nebraska. So that's the main reason.
Has Nebraska lost?
No.
They haven't? Okay.
Neither is Texas.
They both are undefeated.
Yeah.
I do think one team that isn't Nebraska or Texas is Pitt. And
I was going to say this.
I don't personally tune into volleyball that often, but Pitt is a team that I know is very, very good. And I've seen like they beat Louisville recently, and that's a big get for them just as far as wins for the program, and especially just going into the tournament this year.
Yeah.
That was my pick. I was going to talk about Pitt, specifically Olivia Babcock, their right side hitter. I mean, I was looking at her stats, and there really isn't a stat that isn't impressive her script. She had 41 kills in her last game.
Mm-hmm.
41 kills is ridiculous. They similarly just beat Stanford and then Louisville. I think it kind of is a testimony to how this team is playing, and I do think that they will make a great run.
Mm-hmm.
I also want to mention, and I want to see what you guys think, because Penn State is at number 15.
Yeah.
Which, at the beginning of the season, I really wasn't expecting them to even be included in this.
Yeah.
So how do we think that they're doing, and we'll move forward as there's 5 weeks left in the regular season?
I think that win against Wisconsin really set them into the right direction moving towards the end of the season. I think if we can maintain a top 16 rank, that would be crucial for us going into the playoffs so that we can have at least home court advantage for the first 2 rounds. It really does make a big difference. So like those teams that are on the outside, like the top 20 teams, like that's going to be the crucial push towards the end of the season to get into that top 16 to get that home court advantage.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to one Penn State game this year. Penn State, it was actually against Pittsburgh, and I just feel like it was kind of evident how much better Pittsburgh was than Penn State. At that time, we've gotten better, I believe, but we definitely have a lot of work to do, and I think they could make it, though. You never really know.
I think you see a lot of the times, I was looking actually at, there was a question posted somewhere on social media, and it was asking the players what team and what atmosphere, like where they're most excited to go and play. And it's Penn State. So I think obviously reigning national champs, just the atmosphere that we kind of provide as a school. I mean, the rec is usually filled with fans. So people want to come here and kind of silent the crowd, of course. But also I think that is such a push for Penn State to have that on their side going into playoff season.
That'll really change it.
I don't think even if Penn State makes it that they will deserve that place. I think that they've had too many losses. Like they just lost to University of Washington.
Yeah.
And that's just a win that you've got to have under your belt going into the playoffs. I think looking at the rest of their schedule, they're going to have at least 2 more kind of losses that they're going to wish they got back. And I think that they're just not built for the playoffs this year. I do think because it's Penn State, they will have that little edge just because of the way that college volleyball works. There is a lot of favoritism in it.
The name.
Yeah, exactly. You want Penn State to be playing because of that atmosphere.
Yeah,
of course.
And what it brings to the table.
Yeah, I do say we did see Caroline Jurevicius, I feel like, finally get into a rhythm, get into her swing against Oregon. I think she had 20 kills in that game.
Something like that.
And like averaged a 0.4 hitting percentage. So I definitely think that's important for our offense. I think she struggled a little bit. We saw a lot of subs going in at the outside. So I think if we can get consistency into our lineup and really, just kind of relieve some pressure off Kennedy Martin. She's just been carrying us through.
That's what I was going to say. Also with defense, I think we defensively just really need to stay solid. I think you hear it all the time, defense wins championships. And right now I don't think Penn State's in that point. And I think it's a little too late.
Yeah.
But we'll see. And we'll see if anyone can take down Nebraska or Texas as we move forward in the season. But for our final section, we want to talk about the future of college sports. So I want to talk about some future collegiate athletes that we're excited to see in college.
I can go first. So I think I'm most excited to see Ryder Lyons play at BYU. He was such an anticipated player. Everybody was waiting to see where he would end up picking to go. And BYU was kind of expected from California, that area, but similar area. But he is a 5-star recruit, top 20 in the 2026 class. He's expected to do really good things. And I'm excited to see him play, honestly.
I definitely have to say Keemon Svel, although he just committed from Penn State, he's 5-star recruit, class of 2027, best number 1 ranked running back. In his sophomore year, he had over 1,500 yards, 24 touchdowns, averaging 10.7 yards a carry. In his junior season, he had 13 carries, 4 rushing touchdowns, a 98-yard kickoff return touchdown in his first game. Now he has looks from Nebraska, Notre Dame, Ohio State, USC. Very curious as to where he'll end up. It's definitely heartbreaking as a Penn State fan losing a recruit like this, but he's just going to be a beast. I think we're looking at a next Saquon Barkley type college football player.
Until he goes somewhere else, I'm still hoping it's going to be Penn State.
Penn State.
Yeah, we're going to hope.
Yeah. I went a slightly different direction, and I went to the track and field scene, and I picked Quincy Wilson. He is currently a senior who is uncommitted. He has had visits with schools like LSU and Texas A&M, and he is an incredibly exciting athlete to watch. He was when he competed at the Olympics 2 years ago now, I guess. And I think that he is going to bring so many eyes to the sport of track and field that it's really going to be a super impressive freshman season. I mean, he's already running 44-second 400 meters. That's ridiculous. He has the fastest U18 under 18 time. He has the record for that. And the second fastest under 20 time ever, which is just ridiculous to be doing that. And he was doing that all when he was 16.
Yeah.
So, I mean, once he gets into college, gets specifically college coaching, which is such a big difference for so many, specifically track and cross country athletes, because that coaching really, really does make a big difference. So yeah, I'm super excited to see, first of all, where he goes and what he does once he gets to that collegiate level.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I'm happy that you brought up a sport other than football, but I do think it'll be interesting to see where he goes, and then to see what they bring to the college football world, and if they can turn any teams around and how it'll kind of turn out. But you're excited. We are so excited to see what is coming up just in the next few weeks, let alone in the next year. But thank you guys so much for joining our Frenzy show today, and we'll see you tomorrow.